dear Dr. Batra, Mr. Arvind Metirata, and the leaders from the retail industry. Uh, Good morning. It's a pleasure and privilege to address here. Uh, I think I'm the only speaker not from the retail industry. Retail is my customer. I live with them every day, 24 hours. Uh, To begin with, I must congratulate Businessworld Group on launching bwretail.in. All the best to you. And my comment about Dr. Batra is, this is, I think, the 8th event where he lands in the previous night at 2 a.m. and walks in and full of energy. Each time I meet him, I leave with that infectious enthusiasm as well as the energy that he passes on. May God bless you, sir. May God bless your group. I also thank Ved and the entire team on this occasion for having invited me, and it's a pleasure interacting with you. My topic is different from that of the rich insights Mr. Metrata delivered on retail. Sir, I don't like non-air conditioned stores because my business is dependent on the air conditioning. One thing I know for sure that the more than 30% of our business in the past 6 months are coming from retail in some form or so. Air conditioning, I'm not talking about our sales in B2C. Air conditioning of shop, showroom, boutiques, it's an unprecedented growth across, including tier 3, 4, 5. So it's really happening there, physical retail. And as a manufacturer, we go through, Salil is here, this whole dilemma of e-commerce versus brick and mortar stores. The sales team desist e-commerce. They don't want to deal with. So the philosophy most of us follow is that if our market share is, let us say, it is 15%, in e-commerce also it should be 15%. That's how we tend to manage. But I agree with the figures you shared with regard to what is really happening in e-commerce. As far as consumer durables is concerned, it has shrunk. The share specifically post-COVID, I'm not able to understand or comprehend the reasons. And we were told that 30% of the air conditioners by 2023 will be happening through e-commerce. It has not even crossed 12%. At some point of a time, it was 17. It came down to 15. It is standing at 12% for some reason. I also observed that the e-commerce and the modern retail behavior is one and the same as far as the manufacturer is concerned. The pricing power or the buying power that they have got is one and the same. Anyway, that's not my topic. It is from the supply side due to Atmanirbhar Bharat and what is really going to happen in the retail world. That's where I don't know to what extent you all from the retail industry are interested in that. There is clear evidence that it is India's decade. There is absolutely no doubt about it. And the most important thing that I'm observing is that I spend around 20 days in the market, including tier 3, 4, 5 markets, and even for air conditioners, close to around 67% of the sales is coming from tier 3, 4, 5. And you can imagine that what kind of transformation is taking place in India. And what I'm observing in the past 6 months is the optimism. It is we may be worried about the people in this room inflation, slowdown, war, what is going to happen, or one more wave of pandemic, so on and so forth. But out there, there is optimism which I have not seen. This is my 43rd year of my career. I have not seen optimism across the country in consumers' minds. They are consuming. Having said that, I am also bringing in the disclaimer that is it 130 crore people we are talking about, or a minuscule portion of that? That remains the concern for India. I don't think we have migrated the entire population to consuming people, and which is supposed to happen in terms of the employment generation or the rural development and so on and so forth. But that by itself is a different subject. All that I can say is that subject is understood by the current government and how we will get them into consuming class. And as far as Atmanirbhar Bharat is concerned, that we cannot help but referring to China. So we know the history. That many of you must be management students. It's a Plaza Accord which changed the course, led to the lost decade of Japan. Then comes China's manufacturing growth. So we have the advantage of learning from that how China positioned itself as a manufacturing country, and there is connect with the retail. That's why I'm touching upon this, and that's why Ved would have asked me to talk about this Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, the entire thing, I believe in the Michael Porter's competitive advantage of nations, and he moved from the doctrine of that you have the infrastructure, you have the location, natural resources, and labor and population, you will automatically grow. That particular doctrine he demolished by a different theory that you should be innovating, you should have higher productivity, you should have efficiency, and you should have quality, and you should differentiate yourself. And then the government can only be an enabler, and you grow as a nation and build competitiveness. And I think through Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is what is happening, contrary to the belief that it is some money is put in the pockets of the manufacturers so that they will go ahead and manufacture, which is a myth. There are PLI schemes and many categories. I know fully about the air conditioner industry. I was involved in that for 18 months when the policy was getting formulated through CI, FICCI and other forums. Now, PLI scheme is not production-linked incentive scheme. The name is misguiding. The incentive is paid on the sales. Just because you produce, you will not be getting paid. There is a x-axis, which is the investment. There is a y-axis, which is the incremental sale over a particular base year, which is FY21 in case of air conditioners. So therefore, you have an investment threshold. People have gone ahead and invested. In this case, close to around 5,000 crore worth investment has gone in. And manufacturing capacity is doubling. It will double by October 2023. Like Blue Star will be commissioning next month, and you will be seeing many others commissioning their factories. Their manufacturing capacity is doubling. You know very well the market is not going to double immediately. Now, the incentive that I am supposed to get under the nomenclature PLI is based on the incremental sale over FY21. So which means you are going to be grabbing the market share because market won't grow. If I have to earn that money, I have to go and show a growth. And in the process, what will happen is the entire PLI money will get diluted and go to the consumers. That's what will happen. While the analysts, fund managers, stock markets think that you are going to get back, like Blue Star Investment is somewhere accountable under PLI. The land and building not included, only the plant and machinery, some 173 crores, I think, and 73 crores we are supposed to get back. 73 crore is a EBIT for us or a PBT for us. It is not so. It will get, my assessment is my own board doesn't like, am I stating this, or the analyst fund managers, this money will get diluted. But the scheme is a brilliant one. In order to kickstart this manufacturing, become self-reliant, so you are creating a complete component ecosystem, so you are building scale. This is what China exactly did. China went ahead and grew the domestic market and encouraged consumption by bringing in people into consumption cycle. So therefore, this whole manufacturing growth in one sector, which is room air conditioners, it is, my rough estimate is it will create close to around 80,000 jobs, at least 80,000 earn more. And on the contrary, the prices are coming down, scale is built, and you will be in a position to become competitive. So one of the areas, I don't think we should take for granted that it is going to happen. The second is, this is a country where all of us like some drama, that it's a colorful country. Our festivities are colorful, Bollywood is colorful, noise, music. Same way we also like slogans. And for the past few weeks, I am surprised about the term China plus one. Honestly, we don't know now from where it originated. So you interact with a supply chain head in Europe or US, they are wondering where from this China plus one come. We, in our minds, assumed China plus one as if some UN or somebody have declared, and that one is ourselves. In the minds of the global supply chain managers, they know they have to de-risk their supply chain from China to something else, but it is not China plus one, it could be China plus three. It need not be India, it could be some other country. But somehow we have, in the same dramatic style, assumed that China plus one means people are looking forward to India to come and deliver to them, which is not true. We have to be competitive. As Mr. Maitreta mentioned, that the B2B buyers are even more price conscious. They are asking for value, and you are supposed to be competitive. That's where it is. But despite all that, a beginning has been made that after many decades, there is a huge manufacturing growth, to the extent that I don't know from where the manufacturing leaders will come or workforce will come, because we never invested in that. And in the process, we are all surviving by poaching from here and there. But at some point of a time, that's also not going to be possible, because this country cannot cope with sudden manufacturing growth of this nature. But knowing India, there is resilience. We will discover, we will have our own learning cycle. It will happen. There is no doubt about it. Now, manufacturing, as you're aware, is contributing to 17% of our GDP. It is expected that in about 3 years' time, it should be 25% of the GDP will be coming from manufacturing. And services was 50%. I rightly agree that retail is one of the important sectors that is supposed to be. And for a long time, the talk was there that FDI in retail is important, and I don't think that is being talked about. We have the confidence now, even without FDI, we will be able to do that. Now, India's participation out of the world's manufacturing output is just 2%. That's about all. At best, it will become 5 when by 2025. We have a long way to go in terms of participating there. But the key point is that there is scale that is being built, which is becoming double. I told you, in room air conditioners, it is going to be so in quite a few categories, for which whether it is food processing, whether it is going to be leather, shoes, so on and so forth, including EVs, which means it is to be sold. In the process, the retail is going to benefit. So that is a connect there. There is a huge manufacturing that is taking place, and a great pressure, immense pressure on the manufacturers to go ahead and sell in order to get that PLI, and therefore it has to be benefiting the retail sector. Absolutely no doubt about it. And as Dr. Batra mentioned, that it is all coexisting today, that whether it is modern retail, power retailers, the regional power retailers and distributors, so on and so forth, but it is dramatically changing, and we have to navigate through. And I don't think one format of retail is going to get eliminated for the other. And equally, the aftermarket related, I will also consider that as one form of retail that is also has to be set up in quite a few cases in a modern format. The unorganized way of installation service, so on and so forth, we won't be able to. The fact of the matter is there is scale that is being built in order to become competitive, and there is digital manufacturing and the manufacturing 4.0, so on and so forth, in order to make ourselves competitive and consistent in terms of quality. And in quite a few product categories, the green sustainability related, so therefore a lot of things are happening out there, including packaging or e-waste management, so on and so forth. And we will get there. I am not declaring we will become globally competitive. There is a long journey to go through, and the key to this is getting quite a few, the multinationals tell the bosses sitting there are thinking there's 130 crore people, and in quite a few companies are saying, look, we are addressing only some 30 crore. That's all the market is, because all others are not. But imagine that close to 85 crore people in this country are being given free food. It's an alarming status that is that's prevailing as of now. It will change, and in that also manufacturers will have to play a role. So that brings me to the point that while in business schools we have read premium products, how to get price premium, I don't think there is something called premium at all. In India, if you want to succeed, you have to make products that are affordable, and whatever be your proposition, at the end of the day, if you are aiming for huge market share, go ahead and make the product affordable. So that brings me to the point of the important thing, that it will be equally applicable for the retail sector itself, that the TCM as one important signs to be followed, that how we will reduce the cost systematically, every activity in the value chain. So the importance of TCM on one side, and the next part is the R&D and innovation itself. So if you plot, I have spoken about this in some other forums, the growth of Japan, growth of Western Europe, growth of US, growth of China recently, the GDP growth, and you plot the R&D spends of the country, government, private, put together as a percentage of GDP, there is a clear correlation. The countries which had grown, the R&D investments have consistently grown, keeping in pace with. India's R&D innovation investments are just 0.65% of GDP, stagnating. In fact, it is declining, and predominantly from government. And we are not paying attention to this particular part, India's manufacturing growth, and therefore retail growth and consumption growth will happen only through R&D investments as well. So this is one of the concern areas. So the innovation has to happen in terms of products, processes, because how will you explain, Salil knows this very well, air conditioners. India's market size is somewhere around 7 million units. That's all India's market size. The China's domestic consumption is 80 million units. China's domestic plus exports put together is 110 million units. So we have proclaimed that we are China plus one. So you are going to be competing with somebody who is 110 million unit country with a 7 million production. How are you going to be competing unless and until you have some kind of unique value proposition, innovation, so on and so forth? So when you don't have a scale advantage, innovation becomes much more important. And I'm very clear about this. Somebody was upset day before yesterday when I mentioned in a CII forum that US has no love for India to source from India. So why he will they will continue to source from wherever it is convenient for them. They will find out other mitigation mechanisms. So they are not committed to buy from India unless and until you are offering a value to them. That's where we are. Now, I will touch upon also again C.K. Prahalad, a visionary leader. I had the fortune of studying from him at some point of time. The seminal book of his, The Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. And if the retail industry have to succeed, they're doing a great job in employing people in large numbers and therefore helping the country to eliminate poverty to a very large extent through that large scale employment and skilling in quite a few cases. And therefore, how we will go ahead and make them consumers. So the manufacturing companies which are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, they have to also go ahead and play this role of the fine balance between Industry 4.0 and employing people, because it's still a country with huge unemployment. And most importantly, that as we read, people in campus interviews are picked up at 3 crore salary, 2 crore salary. Equally, many colleges, including my own company, don't go to many rural colleges to recruit. Because it's not, we want from top colleges. So one of the things through CI we are driving is that at least 10% of the recruitment, whether it can be from the rural colleges. It is not that there is no talent there. It's just that we are not opening up the window to go ahead and recruit them. Now, the important thing is also the Made in India brand. The rural development has to become a company's objective. I don't think government alone will be able to do it. Similarly, growing our global footprint has to be the job of us, and only help you can look forward to from the government is this. All we have been stating that build a brand made in India for certain categories. That is how we can grow. Now, having said all this, there is also the factor Mr. Mahendrata talked about of the quick money, shortcuts, huge valuation. That's a reality. When India is going to grow at that rate, and it is India's decade, I'm certain about. I'm sorry to say this, that the frauds, greed, all that are part of that journey. So how we will stand up, we do have a role in that as well, to be looking forward to these gaps and not allowing that to happen by voicing against that. This is the next part is a positive thing, that how Indian industry can collaborate. They do follow the competition law provisions, but together how we will go ahead and ensure that India gets a place in the world stage. And personally, I believe there are few industries which are very exciting ones, that when I reflect back, I should have got employed in one of these industries. Like I consider airline industry to be a very exciting industry. And the next one I will say is the retail industry. But the third one is the hotel industry. But all the three are highly competitive industry. Seasonal, goes through cyclical pressures. And retail industry is a happening industry, backbone of Indian economy, not only in terms of employment, how else the manufacturers like us will sell. Thank you all for listening to me, and it's your decade as well. I wish the industry all the very best. Thank you.